Ladies and gentlemen, today is October 3rd, 2013. And this is the KNKL Daily, number 99. I'm your host, Keenan Lafferty, and today is Thoughtful Thursday, where we meditate underneath the bonsai tree. Like Buddhas ourselves, we grow out our bellies and our earlobes, right, so they're giant and sag down to our shoulders. And, we ponder what it is to be an artist. We ponder about life, and we talk about thoughtful things. And today what we're going to be talking about is committing, right? What is committing? And how can it benefit your life? But before we get into that, I have a quick little thing I want to tell you guys about. For those of you who watched the KNKL show 101 and 101 Continued, you will know that I was working on Tristania, and she is now done. She's now done. So she's going to be going up on the forums tomorrow, Friday. I'm going to post a forum topic or whatever, and I'll let you guys know on Facebook when I do that, and you guys can go in and check it out and download the full image. And I'm also going to be releasing a time-lapse, so keep an eye out for that on the YouTubes. Alrighty, people. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into committing. Committing? No, this is not for people that are afraid of marriage or afraid of getting into exclusive relationships. This is more about life. I guess it could be related to that, but we're not going to talk about that today. Today we're talking about committing and what it can do for you, keeping your agreements to yourself and others, and what that can do for you. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the difference between committing and being interested in something, right? And this is something that you can really relate to being an artist, right? Because you could ask somebody, hey, are you interested in working as a professional artist? Are you interested in working in the industry and getting paid to do what you love and getting good at it, right? Are you interested in that, or are you committed to doing that? And the difference being, the difference between those two things is the people that are interested in becoming professional artists and wanting to do that, they'll just do what comes their way. They'll do what's convenient to them, you know, when they find time or when they have time or nothing else to do or when they just feel like it. That's when those people will go ahead and they'll take the initiative to, you know, improve their skills, right? Or really do some research into, you know, what people are looking for in the field, or just plain, you know, work every day on their skills, right? Repetition and consistency and, you know, rituals, right? They got to have rituals where they're basically working on their skill every day. But the people that are just interested in that, doing those things, sorry to say, and I'm very sad to say this, but a few of them, if any, will make it into the professional world. And that's because they just are not committed enough. They're not committed to it, and they don't, and this can come from a couple things. This can come from, A, having dirty glasses, and that's freaking driving me crazy. B, it can be from lack of belief, right? A lot of being afraid to commit to something could be because you're just plain out afraid of it. You're afraid of what might actually happen. You're afraid of failing. You're afraid of succeeding and then wondering, oh, what the heck happens then? What happens if I actually get it and then I have all these responsibilities and I don't know what to do with myself? You know, and you know, I think it starts with believing that you can do it in the first place. And I think that's a big barrier that a lot of people have to cross when they want to, you know, go from being interested in it to being committed. So I want to tell you guys that, you know, really try to, especially those as artists, and not even just artists. It doesn't matter what you want to do with your life. It doesn't matter whether you want to be a professional basketball player or a shoutcaster for StarCraft 2, like I used to want to be, or you know, you want to do anything, right? But if you're not committed to it and you don't believe that you can do it, you're never going to get there. You're never going to get there, because there's going to be so many other people that are competing on such a higher level than you because they already believe that they can do it and they're committed to it and they're working on it every day. And I don't want you guys to take this as too much of a negative thing, especially those people that, you know, because a common thing that I always hear is like, oh, well, I would be committed to it, but, you know, so many people are already so much better than me, right? Or all these young, like, especially I hear this a lot, oh, these younger people, they're already way better than I could ever be, you know? And it's like, there's no way I'm going to catch up to them. Catch up. You know, it's like, that really bothers me, like that term catch up to somebody, because, again, it stems from, oh, well, let me just compare myself to this guy over here. Oh, yep, I'm better than him, so I'm in a good standing, right? I'm in a good place because I'm better than this guy. When really what you should be doing is you should be taking this both ways. A, it doesn't matter how good that guy is. B, there's always going to be somebody better out there than you anyway, So it's like, why even bother with comparing yourself, wanting to be the best, right? You should always want to be the best. But instead, I want to ask you guys to think of it as almost like competing with yourself, right? Stop worrying about getting just to the point where you're just as good as you want to be just by comparison to another person. And instead, ask yourself, what are my limits really? What are my limits really with artwork? What are my limits really with style? What are my limits really with telling stories, inspiring people, creating things? You know, it's like, don't even, you know, I oftentimes kind of ask myself this question, and you know, so many people like look to other artists and they follow their blogs and they watch their every single move that they do, right? And I just didn't do that much growing up. And it was because, I mean, I love looking at people's art, right? But I believe that there's a way that you can also get addicted to it, because it's like, oh, what's this guy doing? What's that guy doing? Okay, I got to do that. And then you work your way up, and then you're always comparing yourself to this person, and then you never really get there. I don't even know what it, and even if you do, then you're just a clone of that person, and it's a terrible thing anyway. But instead, what I did growing up was I would quickly, you know, I'd look around at all these different paintings. I wouldn't follow like a certain artist or anything, but I would definitely pay attention to certain pictures and be like, oh, what's inspiring to me about this? What are they doing really well about this? Then I'd almost just like take that and try that in one of my drawings too. And then I'd like bring it into my style, right? Not just straight up copy them, but just like bring it in. And then I'd almost just like forget about that picture and that artist altogether. And I think it was for two reasons. I think A, I was just way too excited about what I was doing to really be worried about comparing myself to other people. But I think the thing that really, where this really came into play and how this really helped me was that it was almost like it allowed me to have like a pure type of motivation, I guess you could say. It allowed me to basically just look at my own work, right? Focusing on my own work and my own style, what I'm trying to do, right? This is what you should be doing too, right? Focus on your own stuff. Focus on what you are going to do and that unique thing that you're going to bring to the table that nobody else can do besides you. And that's the cool part, right? Because as you do that, as you develop this thing, as you commit yourself to being a better artist and being the best thing that you can be and stop comparing yourself to other people, then all of a sudden you almost like open up this giant, you know, like this forgotten island, right? Of like just like possibilities and things that you can do with your art that nobody else is going to be able to do. Nobody else is going to be able to copy that exact style, tell the stories exactly the same way you do, draw the characters with the same exact style. And even if they do, they're not going to be as good as you, right? Because they're trying to be you, but you are the real thing. You are the OG artist of that style, and nobody's going to be better than you at that. So that's kind of what I wanted to say in terms of that. So committing yourself to be a better artist and really focus on, look at other people's work, but never lose track. Almost get obsessed with exploring and just figuring out what that unique thing that you do is. Because I guarantee you, like, if there's not a spot out there for whatever style you're going to do, then trust me, you're going to make it. Because if you love it and you believe in it, there's going to be other people out there that see that feel that, and they're just going to, like, you resonate this confidence with your style and your work, and you're just naturally going to draw people to it. You know what I mean? It's so hard to explain, but, you know, it's like you can't have a good time doing something if it's not awesome itself, right? You can't have an awesome time making a picture and then not have it be awesome in itself, right? And you're just going to be learning and taking the journey of being an artist, and that's really what life is all about. That's what it really is. So yeah, and I want to stress that, you know, there's nothing wrong with not committing to be a professional artist. Maybe you might realize that, hey, you know, maybe this is just supposed to be a hobby. This is something that I always, you know, just kind of like to do, and I'll just do it on the side, you know, kind of like I play guitar, right? Big thing that I like to do is right over there, there's my little crate amp, right? And I'm not expecting to be like a freaking rock star or anything. I played in like a little local band a few years ago, right? But I realized that music was not my lifestyle. It wasn't something that I was ready to commit my life to. And that's okay too for anybody who watches this show that maybe is not ready to commit to be an artist. That is totally okay. But here's what I will ask you to do, is that if it's not going to be that, then make sure you are looking for that thing. You need to look for that thing that you just feel so good about, something that just makes you feel so alive, something that you feel like you were made to do. And then you really need to start focusing on that and commit yourself to being that. Whatever you are, be a good one, right? I think Abe Lincoln said that. And that's a good one. Woo! All right, moving on. Next thing here. Let's talk about goal cards. Okay, this is another great thing. Speaking of figuring out what your life purpose is and all that stuff, is I once heard this idea of like a goal card, and I think Dale Carnegie was like one of the biggest guys. He made this big old steel industry, and he became a multi-billionaire or whatever. And then his goal of his life was to, I think his goal was to like accumulate as much money as humanly possible or something like that, and then give it all away, right? Before he dies, right? Give every last penny of his money away before he dies. And yeah, that was basically it. Yeah, he said, first half of my life, I'm going to accumulate as much money as possible. Second half of my life, I'm going to give it all away. And I was like, whoa, that's such a cool like goal card, right? And that's such a cool idea for like a purpose. And it's very simple too. So I asked myself, well, what's my goal? What's my purpose? What is my thing that is going to define my life? And and I wrote it down on a card, right? But you don't have to worry about like, oh, once I write this down, I have to commit to exactly that. You can always change it. You might like, this is the way I look at it, is like if you just straight up commit to something and then realize that you really don't like it, I really believe that that just takes you closer to that thing that you really will commit to, right? Commit to something, and if it doesn't work out, then you will get closer to what it is that you're really going for. So a lot of you are probably wondering what's on my goal card, and I'll actually share that with you. All right, so this says, I will create, oh, let me actually, oh shoot, where's the freaking thing? Oh, okay, I'm actually gonna zoom in on this thing. Or, focus! Focus! Mine says, I will create a life of freedom, creativity, and love for myself and inspire others to take the same journey I have. Okay, so that's my, that's a lot more clunky than I wanted it to be. But, yeah, that's basically it. It's super simple. I will create a life of freedom, creativity, and love for myself and inspire others to take the same journey I have. And when I say love for myself, it's not just like loving me. I'm talking about a life of love for myself, you know, the life of I'm going to love myself more than anybody else. No, but it sounds kind of silly, but it's simple, and I really think that when I wrote that down, I was like, you know what, that really feels like what I'm here to do. That really feels like I could live this purpose, and I could apply this to almost anything that I do, and I just feel good about it, right? Another thing that this falls into is a couple weeks ago we were talking about values. And I think values is another thing that you want to consider when you're writing down your goals. And that is, okay, well, what are the most important things to me? Is it, you know, being in good health? Is it accumulating a lot of money so I don't have to worry about anything anymore? No more financial problems anymore. Is it being close with my family and friends, people that I love? Is it respect from others? Is it fame? Is it power? Stuff like that. You want to make sure you get in good alignment with your values and allow that to help you create your goal card and your purpose card, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's done. Next up I want to talk about, this is an interesting thing about committing, right? This falls in line with committing. Now let me make sure you guys are not saying anything crazy over here. You guys are talking amongst yourselves. Sorry, it's hard for me to look at the chat while I'm talking, obviously, but I will get your questions at the end of the show, as usual. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be talking about is keeping your agreements. Keeping your agreements, that's a form of committing, right? You set up a meeting with somebody, right? Whether it's business or personal. And then do you show up? Well, hopefully you do. Hopefully you do. It's like the importance of keeping agreements and setting, yeah, the importance of keeping agreements is so important, and it transcends so much more than just, oh, hey, I got to hang out with Billy this Friday, right? And then Friday comes around and it's like, oh, but I'm so tired. I don't really wanna. I'd rather just stay home. And I'll just blow him off. I'll just flake on him, right? Be like, oh, hey, sorry, man. Yeah, I'm just not feeling good today. And speaking of that, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh no. I almost didn't get the sneeze button. Woo! That was close. Okay. But the reason why keeping your agreements when you set up meetings to meet with anybody, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter whether you're meeting up with somebody, you're setting up, oh, hey, on this day at this time I want to work out, or you're setting up a list of things to do throughout the day or for the week. Those are all commitments. Those are all agreements that you've made with other people and yourself. And when you break these commitments, and these agreements, it harms and almost like destroys your sense of self and your sense of integrity. Even though you say to yourself, oh well, it's, I did so much work yesterday, I just want to rest today, I don't want to go hang out with this person. It's like, if you can't make that commitment, if you can't make that, you can't show up when you said you're going to show up, or be there when you said you're going to be there, then you need to exercise saying no. You need to figure out when it is time to say no. Okay? Because basically the ideal way that this would go down is whenever you make an agreement, whenever you commit to something, all other interruptions that will like absolutely come in and try to stop you from doing this, right? You're going to be tired. Something's going to break in the house. Stuff is going to start flooding. The entire basement is going to start flooding. It's going to be a giant swimming pool now, right? It doesn't matter what happens. If it is in your control to still show up at that meeting or be there at that time, then you must be there. And when you do this, it just gives you a sense of, it just gives you this feeling of, I'm a person who does what I say I'm going to do. And when I can't do it, I say no. And that is just such a great feeling to do that. It totally just builds your self-esteem. And I think that there's so many people these days that just have this low self-esteem subconsciously because they just flake. They just straight up flake all the time. They make plans to hang out with their friends and they forget about it, right? Or they want to go do this thing, they're too tired. They buy into all these excuses, right? Excuses are just always there. You can always just grab any old excuse, right? To excuse you from not being there, honoring your commitment, and honoring your agreement. And excuses are the stupidest things ever invented, and they need to go away forever, right? But they're not. They're going to be here, right? For all those people that need to flake. So, but I'm telling you, it's not just, it affects more than just that particular scenario, the thing that you set up, the meeting or the agreement that you set up. It affects more than that. It affects you subconsciously. And slowly but surely, you start to realize that you're a person that doesn't do what they say they're going to do. They're all talk, and they don't show up when they say they're going to show up, and they don't follow through on the things that they want to do, right? And much like you don't follow your agreements and you don't honor your commitments, you will not honor your commitments to yourself. You will not become what you want to become because you don't do it elsewhere. Does that make sense? All right, anyway, so that is the next one. I feel like this is a really negative subject today. We usually don't get this negative. We usually don't get this negative, but life is part negative, so we must examine and see it for what it is. All right, let's move up to consistency and rituals. Okay, this is another form of commitment. This is a daily commitment that you make to yourself, and this can be something like, hey, wanting to stay healthy, wanting to stay in shape. You need to go to the gym and lift 200 pounds, right, and get all buff so you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger to be healthy, right? All you have to do is just find things that work for you to be healthy, right? For me, what helps me keep my mental and physical health is the 26-34 rule, where I work for 26 minutes, and then the remaining 34 out of the hour, I literally get up from my chair, and I'll walk away from the computer, and I'll go do something. I'll go clean something, or I'll go outside for a walk or something. And this is just really, really good. Oh, and also I do like a twice a week workout program. It's so easy. Like, here's when you know when you have a good workout program. When it's so easy that you literally feel like the biggest piece of trash if you don't do it, right? It's like, this is so easy. It's literally 30 minutes twice a week. And if I cannot do that, then that is freaking pathetic, right? That is so pathetic that there's just no excuse why you can't do that. There's no excuse why you can't take 2 days out of the week and do a 30-minute exercise. For me, right? I'm not saying that to you. You figure out what works for you. Maybe it's 1 day a week. Maybe it's 1 day a week, a 10-minute crunch fest, right? You're just doing crunches on the floor, right? Whatever you want to do. Just find something that works well for you in terms of health. And I think, well, not just in terms of health. I think this can work for any type of ritual. And the reason why I'm talking about rituals and daily activities, right? The reason why you want to get a good hold on these things is because what I'm starting to realize very quickly is that, the big things in life, like the big rewards and like what you become in life is not because of something that you just do one day and then it changes everything forever, right? It's like, not like some freaking magic hocus pocus spell or the fairy godmother that comes and dabs you on the head with her magic wand and then poof, you're Cinderella, and then your car turns into the magic pumpkin carousel and with horses on it or whatever that used to be rats in your garage. It doesn't happen. Your life is created because of the things that you do on a daily basis, because of your rituals, okay? And that's why it's so important that you get a hold on these things and you ask yourself, okay, what are the things that I literally do every day that might not be helping me? What are the things that I do every day that really are not contributing to a long-lasting, wealthy, happy, thankful life, right? And for me, let me talk to you about some of the rituals that I have that are terrible, right? Since I'm working from home now, since I get to just work on Emma and I get to work freelance, I get to kind of dictate my own schedule. I get to be my own boss, right? Which is what I wanted. Yeah, I get the power. But unfortunately, with that challenge comes, whoa, I am actually in charge of myself. I'm the one that has to get myself out of bed in the morning. I'm the one that has to say, okay, this is the plan for the day. This is how much I'm going to get done. This is how much I'm going to charge on these pieces. And is this even like, is this worth my time? You know? And it's challenging. It really is. And a lot of the times, one of the biggest things I've always had the problem with, or the challenge of, is sleep schedule, right? Sleeping. I'm always so tempted to just stay up late, whether I'm playing video games or I am, working on a project that I just, I'm feeling it, right? I'm in the zone. I can't stop now, right? And I just go and go and go and go. And consequently, it's so easy for me to almost like, you want to talk about just like fighting your demons. It like naturally, if I do not constantly push against this, I will just naturally slip into this phase of staying up super late, probably till like 4 or 5 in the morning, and then sleeping until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's such a bad thing to do because it's a big waste of time. And then, you wake up and it's like the day's halfway gone, and it's just not a good schedule for me. And I'm the kind of person that I love to stay up late and I love to wake up early, right? But unfortunately, you can't have the best of both worlds, at least until they develop some sort of genetic enhancement or pill or something that allows you to do that. But it would probably kill you anyway if you took too much of it. So anyway, so yeah, that's like a big thing that I always have to face is constantly being in control and taking control of my sleep schedule. And so yeah, that's an idea of a ritual, right? I stay up late. I stay up late all the time. That's a bad ritual. That's probably a good thing that you need to get rid of. Okay. So ask yourself, are there rituals that I partake of every day that are not contributing to my good life? Another thing that I used to do is I used to love to eat a lot. I used to eat a lot before I went to sleep, right? And for those of you who know, that's actually really bad to do because, that food doesn't go anywhere. It's not like your body even uses it. And I used to get so hungry at night, and I don't know why. It was almost like I felt like I slept better on a full stomach. And anyway, those are just a couple examples of stupid rituals and bad rituals that I do. So, okay, and ask yourself those same things. Okay, now let's talk about good rituals. Let's talk about some positive things, right? Good rituals. Because no doubt you have some good rituals too that have created the life that you are living now. Okay, really look at that. Your rituals, both good and bad, have put you exactly where you are. Okay, it's not anything that happened around you. Yeah, maybe you were born here or born there, and like this kind of economy affects you, but those are all such little things. Those are such little things that contribute like a percentage, like 1% to how your life is. I believe. Okay, that's my opinion. I really believe that your life is really created by you. Right? And it's not just your circumstances. It's because of how you perceive them. It's not that you just create, what your life is. It's almost like how you see it. How you see your life is not exactly how everybody else sees your life. Does that make sense? How you see other people is not how other people see other people. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people go around with the conviction that everybody's just out for themselves. Everybody's just out to get me. Everybody's trying to screw me over, and I just can't trust anybody, right? Or I don't trust women, or I don't trust men, okay? That's one way to feel about people. Other people say, I really believe that when people can help, they step up to help. Everybody wants to help. I think that there's a lot of positive people out there, and all I got to do is look for them and attract them and be my best self and try to find these people, okay? That's another way to feel. And yet, neither of those things changes the outside world, right? You see what I'm saying? And that's really what I'm talking about here. Yeah, what was I talking about? It's like a big tangent. Oh man, I'm getting so good at talking. Okay, all right. So anyway, oh yeah, good rituals. Good rituals. Okay. Um, a good ritual that I do every day is, as you know, the KNKL show. I decided I was going to do this a couple of years ago, and it was just because I wanted to. I wanted to get better at public speaking. I wanted to get. It was for me, right? It was an exercise for myself, and I didn't care how many people were going to watch it. I only wanted 2 people to watch it and really, really enjoy it, right? Because I think about it this way: if everybody just inspired 2 people in the world, throughout their entire life, then the entire world would be inspired. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, my goal was just to inspire 2 people, do my part, and maybe some more. That's really cool. But and I knew I was going to get those 2 people. It was really easy. So, but I continue doing this. I continue doing this every Monday through Thursday. It's such a ritual. It's so ingrained in me now, such a habit, that I could not just say, oh, well, I'm tired. Oh, it's just not going to work today. Sometimes, I have to cancel the show, but I give, a good amount of notice, right? Like at least a day. And it's very rare, okay? It's very rare that I ever don't do a show, okay? So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Make sure it's a very rare exception that you will break a ritual. Okay, and if at all, never break it. The goal is to never break it. Okay, yeah, and let's go ahead and just kind of wrap up everything that we talked about today. And then I'm going to take a couple questions. In fact, I'm just going to wrap everything up, and then please cast your questions over the castle walls, send them back to you on a bed of leaves, and then we'll end. Ooh, sketch a day. Someone's saying sketch a day over here. Yeah, that's an idea of a great ritual. Sketch a day is so awesome. In fact, when well, I think a few years ago, it was like a New Year's resolution, right? I was like, I want to draw something every day. And I think I had this grandiose like vision of like these finished pictures, like finished paintings, just like every day, right? And it's just like that was not going to happen. It was not going to happen. But sketch a day is really easy. Even if it's something as simple as there's my sketch for the day, right? Oh, you can't even see it. There's my sketch for the day. It's a happy man. It's a happy man right there. Okay, anyway. That's my sketch for the day. Some people take pictures every day. I think that's cool too. It's kind of a cool way of looking back on the year, looking back on your life, and really it's for you. I think that's the biggest thing that I want to push forward here is that when you commit to something, and make a ritual, make sure you're doing it for yourself. Don't do it because other people say that this is what you should do or because you want to look cool in front of other people. Do it really just because it's for you. It's for yourself, and it's what you believe you should do. And, people will come around and say, oh, wow, that's so cool that you can draw like that. Or, you'll get attention from other people, but don't do it for that. And this is something that I talked about last week, is it becomes so easy. It's so easy to give into that like quick high that you get from other people respecting you and other people liking what you're doing and thinking you're cool. Just feeds your ego and just inflates your head and you feel this sense of power. But it's so fleeting that you just continue to reach for it and you want more and you want more and you get completely controlled by it and you get addicted to it. So it's good to appreciate the nice things that people will say about you, but you need to quickly move on to, back to doing it for yourself. All right. Questions coming in from Flygon3X. That's an awesome name, by the way. He or she is asking, sometimes I feel that I'm just become disappointed with the art piece while I'm still working on it. Eventually, I just lose faith and then never come back. Lose faith and lose faith. Never come back to it. And I just get to the point where I don't feel motivated to draw, and I'm critiquing myself too much. What do you suggest that can help me stay committed to this piece? Oh, this is a good question. Good question. Because this is something that I sometimes run into myself. Sometimes I will be working on a piece and I just won't like it, right? I'll just be like, you know what? This just isn't turning out the way I imagined it to be. And at this point, I ask myself 2 questions. And the 2 questions are, am I inspired through this piece, right? Because usually by doing it wrong, you very quickly figure out what to do right or what you want to do next. Okay? So I ask myself that question. It's like, is this something that I'm just okay with trash and pushing to the side and now I know what I want to go for? right? Because if that's the question, then that's perfectly fine for you to just can it, right? There's no point in finishing a piece if it's just not going to turn out good, or you already got a better idea of how to do it right. Just can the thing and make another one, right? Um, yeah, exactly. So, but here's the other thing: is that if you don't get that feeling, if you don't get the feeling of oh now I know what to do, then what you might actually be being too hard on yourself. You might actually be being, right? Does that even make sense? Okay, it makes sense on the show, so why not? It makes sense in this reality, in this hour. But yeah, you might be being too hard on yourself, and I would just make sure to watch out for how many pictures you are saying, oh, this just isn't gonna work, and then you start over again, right? And this beanie, I feel like, is cutting off the circulation of my head. Ugh. Because there's nothing worse than just quitting on everything, right? It's not good to just set up a bunch of foundations and just walk off. Don't leave things half finished, because that also damages your self-confidence, right? Even if it comes out terrible, at least finish it. Finish it and then laugh at it if it sucks. Be like, that sucks so bad. And then no doubt, when you finish it, you will have that idea. You will get that inspiration of, oh my gosh, now that I finished this, I know exactly what I did wrong. I know exactly what I did wrong, and I know how to improve on the next one. Okay? So, think about that. It's all about that feeling of getting the inspiration of, this is what I need to do next. Because you don't want to just punch yourself into a freaking valley of, oh, what's the point? I just can't do it right ever. All right. One more question coming in. Or no, 2 more questions, and then we're done. How do you avoid current art trends, like Legend of the Cryptids, etc.? I don't even know what Legends of the Cryptids is. I'm going to look that up really quick. See, this is what I'm talking about. I don't pay attention to art trends. Legend of the Cryptids. This better not be something weird. Oh. I'm seeing a lot of sexy ladies. There's nothing wrong with that. Here, I'll show you. This is what I get when I look at Legends of the Cryptids. Lots of beautiful women. So I don't see anything wrong with this. It looks like fantasy art. It looks like basic fantasy art. And if that's like an art trend, or you want to avoid it, I don't think there's anything wrong with avoiding something that you are interested in. Doesn't matter. Like, I like anime, right? And anime is prevalent everywhere, right? And I really need to stop saying right all the time. Jeez, I need to stop that. Whew, I need to catch my breath. Anime is everywhere, and it doesn't matter whether it's a trend or not. It's just what you're into, and what you're into, you put yourself into it as well. So do that. Don't be a hipster. I mean, you can be a hipster and be like, oh, everybody else is doing this. Well, I'm going to be over here. I'm doing this new art style. You probably never heard of it. It's called Cryptids. All right. Last question coming in. Hogan Warfare. Oh, he's asking about the 2634 rule. And this is the last question, and then we're wrapping up. He's asking, what do you do if you want to play a game or something else for an extended period of time? Oh, during the 2634 rule. Okay. Great question. Great question, because this is what I always run into myself. I'll be working for 26 minutes, and I'll be like, okay, time for a break. I'm going to play a game. Right? And then the buzzer rings, or the timer rings, and it's over, right? But then you're asking yourself, oh, well, I'm about to beat this boss. I'm about to do this thing. I'm so close. Oh, just like 5 more minutes. No big deal. No big deal. Right? And then that 5 minutes turns into 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and then you're gone an hour. And this is what happens to me. And this is why it's so important that you stick to it. Stick to the 2634 rule. And if you can't do that, if you want more time to rest, if you want an hour, then do 26 minutes of work and then an hour of rest. But whatever you do, make sure that when that timer ends, you are done. You are absolutely done, and you are back to work. And then when whatever your work time is over, you are done with work. Because it goes the other way too. Because I'll be working on something for 26 minutes, and then the timer will go off, and I'll be like, oh, but I just gotta get this thing done. Or I'm so close to I just gotta finish this ear. And then and then it doesn't work either way. If you go over on either time set or whatever set time you're working on, it just feeds back to you that you're breaking your commitments. You're breaking the plan that you've set down. So it's not so much about the arbitrary time. It's not so much about the 2634. What's important is that you set a plan and you stick to it. Okay? Helgen, so figure out a time schedule that works good for you. If you need an hour or a couple hours, whatever, to play, or you need a break, then schedule it to that time and then work for a couple hours. All right, man, I'm so out of breath. I feel like I'm just like I'm a babbling brook all of a sudden. Whew! But thank you guys once again for joining me live on Twitch. I've had such a good day. Yeah, it's been a good Thursday, and I'm looking forward to the weekend. People on YouTube, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. I'm Keenan Lafferty. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Till then, take care.